Hello and welcome to Computer Science 30. Yes, this is Liberty Basic Lesson 3, and today we're going to be looking at adding strings together. The process of adding strings together is called concatenation. It basically involves taking two or more strings and combining them together. And you see this quite frequently in a variety of different programs. Here's an example here. First name string is equal to Bob, last name string is equal to Jones, then full name string is equal to first name string plus a space plus last name string, and then you get Bob Jones with the space in between. So we're just adding Bob and Jones together with a space to produce some nice output. You should note that subtracting strings is really just using the mid-string function to remove a part. There's no such thing as really subtracting strings. Here's kind of what I'm talking about here. The full name string is Bob Jones. The length of it is the len of full name string, and space bound is equal to no. So I'm looking for, what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate Bob Jones into Bob and Jones. Space bound flag is equal to no, and I set my x equal to 1. While x is equal to the length, in other words, I haven't gotten to the end of the string, and the flag space bound string is equal to no. Then I pull a character out. Character string equals mid string of full name string comma x comma 1. Pulls out the first character. If it's a space, then I have found the space, and I set my space found string equal to yes, and I now know at what point the space is. First name string then is left string of full name string x minus 1, because x is the position of the space. So if I use x minus 1, it's going to take the first name out. Last name string is going to start right string. It's going to start from the right-hand side of full name string and go from x plus 1. Again, x is the spot of the space. So that would be an example of string subtraction, I suppose, pulling first name and last name strings out. We're going to be using adding and subtracting of strings to build a Pig Latin translator. I don't know if you're familiar with Pig Latin or not. It's kind of a kid's language to try and keep secrets from parents, although most parents learned Pig Latin when they were little. Sometimes parents use Pig Latin to talk about things that they don't want the kids to hear about when the kids can spell. So here are the rules for Pig Latin. In words that begin with consonant sounds, the initial consonant or consonant cluster is moved to the end of the word, and A is added. And here are some examples. So beast, because it starts with a consonant, you remove the B out, and it becomes East Bay. Doe would become O day, because you take the D and put it at the end. Happy would become appy hay. Question, because it's a consonant cluster, we take out, and the QU here is a special one. The Q and U must go together, so you would pull the Q and the U out, and it would become Estinque. Star, because it's ST, becomes R stay. The S and the T go. All three consonants go to the end, so it would become Ethre. In words that begin with vowel sounds, you simply add the syllable A to the end of the word. So eagle would be eagle A, apple would be apple A, orange would be orange A. And here is a link to see how conversions work. I'll just click on that if you like. I'll give you this link as well in the folder. Here's online conversion here. So if you said something like, I love computers, it would come back with nothing. Not sure why that's not working. Well, I guess they didn't do their pseudocode very well, did they? You may have to look for another online conversion program. I'm sure there's plenty out there. So let's begin by getting your program to change single words that start with one consonant. Save this as Pig Latin version 1. And we're going to start using here, and I think you may have seen this in a previous lesson, but this is a very important sort of process when you're building a project like this, is to start with one small thing that works, save it as version 1, and then when you start working again, immediately save that as version 2. And then what you have is you're going to have a series of programs called Pig Latin version 1, Pig Latin version 2, Pig Latin version 3, and you have versions that get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the reason we do this is so that you always can go back. If you mess up one day and you want to start over again, you always have a working code that worked in a smaller version. So you should always save that smaller code, working smaller code as a version number that you can always fall back and go to. Okay, never continue to work with the same file over and over and over again, because if you mess up, then you lose everything. So a valuable skill to learn. So for 5 marks, I'd like you to have Pig Latin version 1. All it has to do is just take single words like ball and converts it to albay, dog to og, bay, house to aushe. You can use those 3 as checkers. Note that we're assuming that all the words typed will begin with a single consonant. You don't have to do any checking. All you have to do is get the first consonant off, put it at the end, and add the A. So here's the pseudocode for that. Again, I'm going to try to convince you that planning is very important. So pseudocode is get the word, input from the user, remove the first letter. It is a consonant, and there's only one. We're limiting to that to begin with. We're going to add a hyphen to the end of the word. We're going to add the first letter removed to the word, and then we're going to add the ending A to the word and print the word. So you should go ahead and try that on your own. Pause the video right now and see if you can get that to work. Okay, here's the solution for that. Hopefully you've paused it. Input, enter a simple word in the English language, call it word string. The length of that is equal to len of word string. First string is equal to left string of word, comma 1, so we're just pulling off the very first consonant. The rest of the word is right string, word string, comma length minus 1, so it gets everything else together. So first string is the first letter, rest string is the rest of the word. A string is automatically set to the letters AY, and then the pig word string is equal to the rest of the word plus a hyphen plus first letter plus AY string, and then print it. So you should save that as Pig Latin V1, and then immediately save that as Pig Latin V2 as you move on. Complete the Pig Latin assignment in steps as outlined in the handout. Before starting on step 2, save it as Pig Latin V2 so that V1 still exists in working form. Always work with an existing working program, but with a new name, so that you can always fall back on the previous version. So as an assignment, complete Pig Latin V2 by converting it into a GUI Windows-based program. And then continue on with the rest of the Pig Latin assignment. All right, good luck with that.